Hi, this is Bonnie Quiseno, and I am so excited today to be talking with Jessica Louise Phillips. Hi, Jessica. How are you?
Hi, Bunny. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I'm super excited because I get to talk to you today in this interview. You have such a rich and varied tapestry of your life, and I can't wait to share that with our viewers. But also, really, really excited today to be talking to you about the amazing book that is about to be released that you are an author in. And that book is called Stories of the Goddess Divine Feminine Frequency Keepers. So, welcome and just super, super happy to hear all that you have to say about yourself and this book. So, let's just begin so that everyone can get to know you a little bit. Let's begin with just a brief history of who is Jessica.
Oh, wow. Brief history. I'm not very good at those.
Yes, that's why you're a
um,
writer, right?
yes. Um, wow. As I was saying to you before, I've taken some time out recently to kind of reconnect to a lot of my childhood passions, which had got kind of put on the back burner through adult life, and those are traveling and writing. So they're kind of my top priorities and main focus at the moment. I've kind of trained in every therapy modality, holistic therapy under the sun. And I'm just kind of going along my own healing journey, gathering up kind of all the tools for my own toolkit and finding what I feel works, what resonates, what doesn't, and sharing that with people.
That's so exciting. And how much fun that you are just traveling right now, traveling and writing and following your passion, right?
Yes, yeah, it makes my Sagittarius rising very, very happy to be traveling again. Yes, especially after the last few years. So I've definitely been making up for lost time this year.
Right. Yes. Well, so I know you and I have a common thread to our background of caretaking a parent, and then
Mm.
sadly not having them with us anymore. And so I don't know how for you. I mean, obviously, this book is about goddess energy, and so I'm wondering for you, how did that goddess energy sort of play into your role as a caregiver for your dad, and has that in any way influenced you in the writing of this book? Has it helped to sort of bring you to the point you came to be in this book?
Wow, gosh, yes. Kind of the last 7 years. So yeah, I was caretaking for my father when his mental health wasn't good. He's actually fully recovered now. Um, but it also my uncle.
Let me interject for a second. I am so sorry because I did not, I totally misunderstood the ending. So, yay, wonderful. I'm so relieved to hear that your dad is fully recovered. That's great. Okay, so good. Yay, dad. All right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was kind of the start of my journey. It was coincided with the time that I myself was suffering with my own mental health. I had PTSD from witnessing an accident, and there's a history in my family losing an uncle that way. So a lot of big traumatic events kind of happened at the same time, and while I was kind of trying to navigate life with this PTSD, which just became my full identity, took over my life. I just completely lost who I was, which now I'm here. I know it was all part of me having to kind of just hit rock bottom and rebuild, refind, reconnect to who Jessica is. And yeah, caring for my father, it taught me a lot. And one of the biggest things is um, not kind of leaving yourself behind or putting your own life on hold. Like I did that for quite a long period of time, and I would do it all over again. But it taught me a lot as well in other dynamics and friendships, relationships, about boundaries as well, and just my own capacity, and not getting to burnout. And there's only so much as one person that we can do. And I think as an empath and a highly sensitive being, oh, we can feel the pressure of like, but we have to be everything to everyone. And that's just not physically humanly possible, as much as we'd love it to be so. And everything I learned from that time, like I say, helped me in my own relationships and friendships. Had a lot of breakdowns in that area, and parting of ways, um, and yeah, it kind of turned my whole world upside down. And in more recent years, I was in a similar position, caring for my uncle, who sadly isn't here anymore. But it taught me a lot, and I went into that role a lot differently than I did the first time, and it just meant there was less feelings afterwards of kind of, I don't like to say it, but resentment and, you know, guilt and fear and insecurities. They're always there. Um, but yeah, I knew that I was doing my very best. Um, and yeah, that balance of feminine and masculine energies within, which is then woven into this book chapter. And again, like I say, how I've handled my own like intimate relationships.
So, what I know we don't want to give away too much, but what can you share with us? Can you give us any sort of, can you dangle a carrot for us about your chapter in the book?
Yeah, so I actually connected with Rada around the same time that I found out about the book and got so excited about the opportunity. And at the same time, I was going through an intimate relationship, which it wasn't good. It wasn't a good one. And I went into it very disconnected from myself. And rather than kind of allow that to go on for a long period of time, I recognized, I tuned into my intuition, my discernment, levels of self-worth. Um, and I actually removed myself from that a lot sooner than past versions of me would have done. Um, so it's kind of me championing my own kind of, self-worth, and sharing that, and sharing that sometimes, like the hard truth, we have to take a hard look in the mirror. It's very like, bad things do happen to good people. But if you're willing to kind of strip everything back and keep asking of yourself why and not of another, you can just transform your life and take responsibility and not fall into that victim archetype, which can be very, very subtle. And like I say, bad things do happen to good people, but all that you can do is take responsibility for your part in how some of these things can sometimes come about. Because if you're willing to strip it back, I always think kind of 9 times out of 10, it comes down to perhaps a lack of self-worth, or, people pleasing, or fear of rejection, fear of abandonment. And it's innate part of being human.
And so you were able to sort of weave all of that into your chapter. And
Yes.
what would you like readers to take away from what you've written in this?
Yeah, I think just no matter what struggles or challenges or hardships that you're going through, or you've been through, or that are to come, because again, all part of the human journey, um just that there is a way through. There is a way through, and that it is safe to be yourself here now. And again, I think it all comes down to self-worth, and I'm grateful that I've personally got to a place where, and I never thought I would or could, of, I'm happy to kind of be rejected and repelled from people that don't resonate with me now, rather than be accepted for somebody that I'm not, or a half-hearted version of me. It just doesn't sit well with me anymore. And because I know that the more we lean into more of our authentic selves, and who we are at a core, the more we draw in like-minded souls. It can take a while, but they're out there.
Yes, and it's so powerful what you just said, that you would rather be separated from the people that you don't actually resonate with and who don't fully accept you vibrating at who you fully are, than to be half of yourself, or something that's not even of yourself at all. And that's so powerful. So thank you for saying that, because I think that the more we all come to those realizations, I think the better we are all going to feel. Because why keep hanging out with people that don't serve you, because you probably somehow don't really serve them either, because if you're not able to be your full, true, authentic self around them, then what usefulness can come of that? either as a give or a take. So yes, thank you so much for sharing that beautiful thought with us.
Yeah. And I think it has a ripple effect to the rest of your life, because the more you're in alignment with yourself and then dynamics and partnerships, just the more kind of I find magical and miracles just pour into our lives and aligned opportunities. And yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. So you mentioned Radha just a moment ago. And yes, Radha is such a delight, such a joy, such a goddess archetype for all of her own. And so I'm just wondering, like, what has your experience? Because obviously, I want to share about this book with people because it's coming out March 23rd is pre-sale release. So um, obviously, I want people to be focused and thinking about that. But for anyone who might be, either already writing or thinking about writing and, looking to be involved with something, how has your experience been with Rada Publishing House?
Yeah. It's been so good. To be honest, again, it's one of those miracles that I feel just kind of landed in my lap. Raja and I ended up being roommates at a yoga teacher training, which has bonded us for life. We were kind of the white witch rebels outcasts of the group, and we loved it. We had each other. Um,
That's
and we
great.
just we bonded straight away over all things mystical, magical, and writing and goddesses and divine feminine. And I'm so grateful because I've found that I've appreciated kind of the patience and the flexibility along the way, because I was facing a lot of kind of resistance and blocks, like even through the writing process. I've had to overcome like a lot of my own kind of triggers and childhood wounds, which has been so powerful and empowering. And so I'm so grateful for that. And then also, again, inner me, little me, just the big dream of like wanting to write and have my own books one day. And I feel like this is such a divine stepping stone towards that, and to be able to write a chapter rather than a book straight away, it just felt for me personally so much more manageable. And just to kind of see the ins and outs of the process, and to be doing it alongside other like-minded women, who, we're all on kind of similar but very different, unique paths. And yeah, it's been such a joy. And it's been great to know that even though I was quite inward in this process myself, that the support was always there if and when needed.
I'm just going to ditto everything you said because thank you. And I want to jump back for a second to your yoga teacher training with Radha, because that I'm so familiar with when she was doing that, because that was at the time that I was interviewing her for the Inner Goddess Summit. So yeah, so I sort of felt like I had a little sort of sneak peek into your yoga training as well. So that's kind of fun. And now here we are. Everything comes
Yeah,
full circle, right? So
absolutely. Yeah.
as a as a sort of final thing to think about, I would wonder if you would be willing to share with us your thoughts on the the divine feminine, the goddess aspect, and why you think it is important that we bring those things to the light in something like this book.
Yeah. So I think it's so important. I think every individual, divine feminine, divine masculine, I mean, we all have both energies within us, regardless of gender. And I think it's so important that everybody realizes special their how special their story is. Everybody has a story to tell, experiences to share that can help other people, which so many people think like, oh, I don't have anything to share or tell, but it's like everybody does. So I just encourage to, in whatever way, written, spoken, sang, like, get
Right.
your story and experiences out there, even if it's just sharing with one person, a friend, a loved one, family, stranger, pass by. And with regards to the divine feminine, it's actually a concept that personally I feel like there's so much content out there about the divine feminine and divine masculine at the minute, that for me personally, I became quite oversaturated in recent months. And I feel like there's so much conflicting information that I was starting to feel like, oh my gosh, am I in my feminine, my masculine? I was so in my head about it. I just had to take a step back and just be. And I think, having come from, obviously we've been in such a patriarchal society and system, and I know this is now swinging kind of to the matriarch, but I can see like it's swinging between extremes,
Mm.
which I don't feel is the answer, but I feel like it's perhaps the path for then the pendulum to come and swing into balance and just fall and settle in the middle. And so it's not something that I struggle to put it into words. And so I think while it's being rewritten, I know we're part of the rewriting of that, but I just feel like the dust almost needs to settle, because I feel so many of us just don't know who we are, what we're doing, and just we're bombarded with so much information about it, that it's a concept that I think has become quite hard to grasp, quite honestly, for myself. Um, but I think everybody has a story to tell.
I would totally agree with you on that being a bit hard to grasp. That's really a big part of why I did the Inner Goddess Summit, because I felt like, what is this? Like, what does it mean? What does it mean to me? And I realized I really didn't know what it meant to me. This, just even the word goddess, and it's so charged. Because the masculine feminine argument, the religion argument, god goddess, like, how dare you, it's just very very charged for a lot of reasons. And so it's been very interesting for me, to speak to women like yourself, and just say, what is it to you, what does it mean to you, and why is it important. And I agree, it does become a bit much, sometimes. But that's one thing that for me I feel is so special about this book, because it's stories of the goddess, and it's all these women who we have come together and share their own stories from their own lives, and how that could sort of, in whatever way for them, tie into a goddess archetype. And I think that just really helps to make it so much more palatable, digestible, it just sort of makes it more real and more tangible, more understandable, and relatable, I think.
I love that. I love what you said about just, yeah, what is it to you as an individual? Like, shut off from the outside noise for a moment, and what does it mean to you? Because there's no right or wrong, and it's your own experience. And I think, yes, I think story sharing, storytelling, like, we're humans, we put everything into a story, sometimes to our own detriment in our minds. But sharing stories like this, it just, yeah, it humanizes everybody, and just makes, like you say, makes it so much more relatable to whether it's the same or just similar. And yeah, I think it's a beautiful way to be able to do that.
Yes. And it has been such a joy to be on this journey, with a group of people with the same common vision, and
Mm.
um, common end result, desire. And yeah, so thank you so much, Jessica. It has been a pleasure to chat with you today, and I can't wait to share your beautiful thoughts and wisdom with everyone. And yeah, so for those of you listening, be on the lookout for the book Stories of the Goddess, Divine Feminine Frequency Keepers. And that is a tongue twister for me, so I have to think about it. But yes, Stories of the Goddess, Divine Feminine Frequency Keepers, will be in pre-release March the 23rd, and we will be posting links so you can find it and make it that much easier to read and experience, and share Jessica's journey with her, as well as all of the other women who have contributed to this beautiful book. Thank you so much, Jessica. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Oh, thank you, Bonnie, and thank you to everybody listening. Lots of love.
Lots of love. Take care.